Maybe you're like me, and maybe you wonder why every single holiday we celebrate is just the most wasteful day ever. Or maybe you're normal and you don't think these things. But for me, with 4th of July coming up, I'm like, there is no way that fireworks are eco-friendly even in the slightest. So I wanted to deep dive just how not eco-friendly are these things, and I think you're going to be shocked. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste. And I love to talk about the wastefulness of our modern, capitalist, unsustainable holidays. I've talked about most of the major ones: Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. What other holidays are there? Halloween. But I have yet to talk about the 4th of July or the United States Independence Day. Mostly just because there isn't much wasteful about the day other than fireworks. But that being said, that's quite the wasteful thing that we do on this day, which we also do it on New Year's. Is a popular day for us to launch fireworks. I know people launch them for like birthdays and graduations, even like Christmas, Thanksgiving. People launched fireworks in Vegas all the time. I'm like, what day of the week is it? What holiday is it? I don't know. People launching fireworks. But this isn't just for my American friends. People celebrate New Year's all over the world, and people launch fireworks all over the world. There are other holidays throughout the world where we launch fireworks off. So if I miss some, let me know what holidays use fireworks down below. But I figured this was just a good time to put this video out because it is easily the most significant day for fireworks in the United States, and I'm American. So let's talk about it. Fireworks are a lot of fun. They are like, when I look back at my childhood, one of the things I remember the most is going and watching fireworks displays for 4th of July. And it's so much fun. I get it. I get the fun behind it, the fun patterns in the sky, the tradition, the excitement, but we can't ignore that it's wasteful. Have you ever personally seen the pollution from fireworks? I have. It's kind of hard because, they're launched at night, so you can't see how much smoke is just in the air. But if the wind is blowing just right and a firework launches, it like lights up the rest of the smoke in the air, and it's insane. I think it would be interesting to see them launched during the day just so you can see the pollution, because I think if you could actually see the pollution with your own eyes, you could really wrap your mind around just how pollutive they actually are, because it's so hard to see. It's the same thing like driving a car. Because you can't see the pollution yourself, it's hard to imagine that it's a wasteful thing to do, that it's a pollutive thing to do. But not only that, like the debris that's launched afterwards, have you seen like the launch site after fireworks have been launched off? There's so much trash that goes behind it. And obviously like they're explosives, so they're gonna launch trash everywhere. Fireworks are very pollutive, not just like physically, but also in the air. They contain CO2, carbon monoxide, nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, and particulate matter, all contribute to air and water pollution, and even climate change itself. Just think about it. They're literally explosives wrapped in plastic, wrapped in trash. Some even shoot off like confetti or plastic parachutes that are like purposefully polluting. During Independence Day alone, estimates from the American Pyrotechnics Association estimate over 14,000 individual fireworks go off on just this one day a year. And honestly, I would be surprised if it's not more than that. 14,000? I feel like some displays, like each display launches 14,000 fireworks. Maybe they meant like 14,000 tons or something. So just what is the issue with fireworks? Let's first talk about air pollution. A big reason that fireworks are so bad is the air pollution, which can cause smog, which can cause illness, and so much more. This particular pollution is caused by particulate matter, which is solid and liquid substances that are found in the air and is deemed the most toxic air pollutant due to the way that it affects our lungs and hearts as well as the environment. A study was done in India after the celebration of Diwali, and again, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. They found that the particulate matter in the air increased 35 times just this one day a year from the fireworks displays. But not only the particulate matter, but also the gases that are launched and polluted from fireworks. These gases include carbon monoxide and nitric oxide, which are toxic to inhale and can inhibit the transport of oxygen throughout one's body. This isn't just for animals, this is for plants as well. Any living thing that produces and transports oxygen throughout its body will be affected by these gases. Another shocking statistic for you, this one's coming out of Minneapolis after the 4th of July. They found that carbon monoxide increased by 32%, carbon dioxide grew by 17%, and nitric oxide fluctuated a bit before it doubled overnight. We talked a lot about these gases in this video up here, which is like busting climate change myths. And we specifically focused on things like carbon dioxide, other gases that are similar to those that are released during fireworks. So if you want to learn more about how these gases are specifically causing climate change, you can watch that video up here. I don't want to get into it fully, but in short, these are all greenhouse gases, which is warming up the planet, which is causing climate change at a rapid pace. Fireworks don't just stop there, they also create light and noise pollution as well. And this is where we're really going to talk about the effects on wildlife, because a lot of these effects are going to affect us as well. We can get hearing damage from noise pollution. We can get eye damage from light pollution if we're up close. Of course, the air pollution is going to affect us. The water pollution is going to affect us. But this one in particular affects majority the animals and not so much us. Now, I'm sure a lot of you who have pets know how this affects animals. Every year that fireworks go off, Denahi is freaking out, Mochi is hiding, they hate it. Now imagine a wild animal who doesn't have a place to hide, who's actively in their bed, like in their bed down area, in an environment that they think is safe, and then explosions start going off. They can become lost, they can become disoriented. And obviously they'll suffer the same health consequences we do because it's their air that they're breathing and their water that they're drinking as well. And because of how unsafe they feel, they might abandon their homes completely. And of course, the hazard of them getting scared, darting into a roadway because they're just trying to get away from the danger, and then running into more danger. And this can cause harm to ourselves as well, because with collisions with bigger animals, this can cause serious harm to us and our vehicles as well. In Europe, they actually conducted a study via GPS on Arctic geese, and just to see their migratory patterns after a fireworks display happened. They found that the geese left their sleeping spots due to the light and noise, and they never returned due to the heightened sense of danger. Fireworks are literally displacing animals and causing them to change their entire migratory patterns. Patterns that they've had throughout generations of living in these places are now altered because they're too scared because of what we've done. If that still isn't enough, let's talk about water and ground pollution, which again will affect us and the animals as well as plants, and because it's affecting the plants, it will come in turn to affect us and the other animals more, because guess who eats plants? All of us. The best known, or perhaps the worst known, chemical in fireworks, and its chemical compound is perchlorate. This is what's added to fireworks to make them shoot upwards at those speeds. When it is in the air and then consumed in large amounts, it can affect the thyroid. But not only this, it can leach into our soil and groundwater, which will contribute to us consuming it in large amounts. It can also remain in the environment for long periods of time and be absorbed by plants. So like everything's absorbing it. The ground, the water, the plants, the animals. And because we're consuming the water and the plants, we consume it more. So when you're setting off fireworks over your pond, over your garden, over a local orchard, over, I don't know, even plants that animals eat, it's going to be leached into these plants and then we're going to eat it. So the U.S. Geological Survey and the National Park Service did a little study. They studied the soil and water at Mount Rushmore after some fireworks displays. They not only found increased levels of perchlorate after, like immediately after a fireworks display went off and like where the debris landed, but they also found heightened levels in the plants and the soil and the water years after, like where the debris landed in years prior. Like there's still heightened levels years later. And of course, the last type of pollution we have to talk about, which might be the most obvious, is the physical pollution. This can include shells, heavy metals, plastic confetti, paper confetti, plastic parachutes, cardboard, ash, and so much more. It can all be left behind like in the local area, or because it explodes tens, hundreds of feet up in the air, it can travel miles and miles as well. And if you don't clean up, even if the trash is isolated to your local area, like the launch site, and you don't clean it up, it can still blow or float hundreds of miles away as well. Of course, this can pollute our own drinking water. This can get into the food of animals. For example, even farm animals. Like if our farm animals are eating this and then we're eating the farm animals, we're in turn eating the waste. I'm sure we've all seen it by now, all these like unfortunately famous viral photos and videos on the internet of animals eating our trash and then dying because of it. This can be a cause of that. And of course, chemicals are one thing, but fireworks are also contributing to microplastics. And if you're unfamiliar with what microplastics are, I have a full video breaking that down. You can check it out up here. It is a very old video, like 3 years old. So enjoy that little throwback, but it is a very useful video if you're unsure, you've never heard this term before. But in short, microplastics are just teeny, teeny, tiny pieces of plastic. We can't even see them with the naked eye most of the time. And they did a study in England over the River Thames. I believe that's how you say it in British. They did a study after their New Year's Eve celebration. They took some water samples on December 30th and then more water samples on January 1st. So like just over 24 hours later. And they found, what was it? They found a 1,000% increase in microplastics. 1,000%. What is that, like 10 times? That's insane. And like this is an example of even if you clean up as good as you can in your launch area, you can't prevent the microplastics that are exploding out of these literal explosives, and they're going to rain down. And so this is just even more important, that if you must launch fireworks, don't do it over waterways. I mean, I say that, but like, even if you launch it over grass, over a field, those microplastics are still ending up in the environment anyway. But at least I guess they're not going directly into someone's drinking water. I don't know, it's all very frustrating. So clean up what you can when it comes to the physical pollution, but at the end of the day, with explosives going off at these altitudes, we can't control where all the debris is going to land. And then something else that I probably could have thought of, but I feel like I didn't think of before researching for this video, is that fireworks are a fire hazard. And I definitely knew this, like, in my local area, like right in my immediate area where they're going off, because gosh, people in Vegas launching fireworks in the street in a residential area. I'm like, you're gonna burn someone's house down. Luckily that never happened, at least in my area. So I've always thought about it in that sense, but I've never really thought about it as like a wildfire sense, which makes sense because like I used to live in the desert where we would have burn bans all the time because it's so dry. So yeah, if you're under a burn ban, please do not launch fireworks. Even if you're not under a burn ban, just please take extreme caution, because you definitely don't want to be the one that starts a forest fire. First off, the guilt, and second off, you can be sued for like millions of dollars. So if you're not going to do it for the environment, do it for your own sake. But this is just going to continue to be a problem as climate change gets worse and heats up our planet more. Because of climate change, our planet is getting hotter, it is getting drier. Weather patterns are changing. It's raining less in a lot of places. So wildfires are becoming more and more of a hazard. Wildfire seasons are lasting longer. They're becoming hotter. They're spreading faster. So it's really, really important that we do not start them ourselves, because wildfires are natural. They do happen on their own every now and then. Honestly, probably quite frequently. But when we start them, that's when it becomes the real problem. Just one single ember and one single spark can start a wildfire that cannot be contained. So you have to be very, very careful, especially in dry areas and wooded areas. And as I already said, it's not a good idea to set them off in residential areas either, because you can cause someone's house to burn down, a barn to burn down, and that can spread too. Even if you're extremely careful about launching fireworks when it comes to fire safety, have stuff on hand, have a hose, have a fire extinguisher, clear your radius. Don't launch on a windy day. I feel like that should really go without saying, but like, even if your launch area is safe from fires, if it's windy and your firework goes miles away, who's to say that it's fire safe over there? Now that we know everything wrong with fireworks, what can we do instead? We need to stop purposefully polluting the environment. That's what fireworks are. I mean, granted, that's what like anything we're doing are. That's what driving is, that's what flying is, that's what littering is. But like, especially with fireworks, something that so easily could be avoided. Because like cars, you can see the necessity behind a car. There's no necessity for fireworks. It's entertainment. Listen, I like them too. I really do like fireworks. I think they're a lot of fun. And as I said, like a big part of my childhood memories, but like there's better options, and let's go over them. Pyrotechnic displays that go off at lower altitudes, so things like just simple fire displays, obviously still pose a fire hazard, and there might still be some pollutants in there, but they're less noisy, they're less bright, so they're better for the wildlife. And then you don't have to have all those explosive chemicals in there, which can reduce air and water pollution as well. And these are being tested in Canada. Italy is testing silent fireworks. That's like literally a firework with no noise. I'm not sure how it works, and I'm not sure about the pollution. Their focus, it seems to be, is on the noise pollution, which is great. We do want to keep animals safe because that's a big part of environmentalism. It's not just like physical waste, but like environmental waste and how we disturb the natural environment as well. But hey, it's a step in the right direction. One you've probably heard of that has really gained popularity over the last like 5 years or so, and that actually took place at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, is drone displays. I think this is awesome because no explosives, no air pollutants, no noise, no light, maybe a little noise, a little light, but like not enough light to scare animals off. And the more that drone technology is improving, the easier that this is becoming and the more frequent that this is being used. And I think this is a really, really cool option. So if you have one available to you, go check it out. And then the last one is, of course, a laser show. Laser shows have been around for a long time at things like amusement parks and such, and now they're being used in lieu of fireworks because, again, no explosives, no noise, less pollution. These are all really great options. If you have one available to you, you can go check those out this 4th of July. But what do I want to do if I still want to use fireworks? Can I still use them? Obviously, I can't force anybody to do anything. I can only give you the facts and evidence, and encourage you to do the thing that's best for the environment and the animals and ourselves. Fireworks are bad for us too. But if you must, here are some fireworks safety tips that will not only hopefully like save you from getting a burn, but also help prevent the environment from facing the consequences as much as possible. One that I didn't write down, but maybe you could look into, is like the ingredients on your fireworks. See if you can avoid some of those ingredients that we talked about that are like really, really, really toxic. I don't know if that's possible, but that's something you can look into if you're really into fireworks. Something simple you can do though is to choose fireworks that don't have additional pollutants in them. So fireworks that don't have the little parachutes, that don't have confetti, that aren't spewing additional plastic into the environment. Of course, fire safety is a big one. Don't launch them in a dry area. Don't launch them in a wooded area. Don't launch them over somebody's home. If it's windy, if you have a burn ban, don't launch fireworks. I don't care how fun they are. Don't break burn bans. Burn bans are in place for a reason. Please don't do it. I kind of just hinted on this. Get as far away from structures, woodlands, as well as animals as possible. This includes like your pets. Don't have them around, wildlife, farm animals, like get away far away from animals as possible. Don't launch over water sources, pretty please. I know this pollution is going to end up in our water probably eventually, but if we can prevent it as much as possible, that's probably preferred. When I lived in Okinawa, there was fireworks every Friday, directly over the ocean. And every Friday I sat there like this. No, but for real. They're directly over the ocean. And like obviously we lived on an island. It was going to end up in the ocean no matter what. So I guess you might as well just just make the inevitable happen. I don't know. But please don't launch them over water sources. Please. Clean up your mess as best as you can. You obviously can't clean up smoke and ash and microplastics, but any cardboard debris that's in your general vicinity, pick it up, reduce the pollution as much as possible, which is very difficult because fireworks are very pollutive, but do what you can. I already mentioned this too, but again, have your fire safety measures on standby. Hoses, fire extinguishers, 911. Let the fire department know too, like, hey, we're launching fireworks from like 10 to 11 p.m. just in case anything goes wrong. They can have an extra heads up to be on extra standby just in case something happens. Keep your pets inside. Don't have your dog out there, especially like don't have your dog out there on like not on a leash, because no matter how well your dog has reacted in the past, they might react differently this time, and that's the last thing you want is to lose your pet. So, and of course, this is just general safety measures. Wear your own personal protective equipment, your hearing protection, your eye protection, even a respirator, because I didn't realize just how toxic some of these chemicals are, and if you're standing right there in the explosion zone, makes it sound like it's war. Wear a respirator so that you're not breathing in as much of these toxic chemicals as you might otherwise. I hope that this video was educational and I hope that you learned a lot. I sure did. I just generally thought like, oh, fireworks, bad, boo. I didn't realize they were this bad. So I guess something else you can do if you don't have any of these other displays in your area, just boycott fireworks. I know it's probably not going to do anything because most displays are free. So like nobody's benefiting if you watch or don't watch, but it's just a little act of rebellion by not going to a fireworks show. If you are like a fireworks technician, consider doing it in a more eco-friendly way like we talked about. Yeah, I don't want to tell people to like quit their jobs. Like if this is your summer job, then you gotta do what you gotta do, but see if you can maybe make your company a little bit more eco-friendly this year. If not this year, because it is a little last minute, maybe next year. Let me know what you learned and how you're going to be celebrating the 4th of July, as well as how you're going to be celebrating firework-centric holidays in the future, like New Year's, for example. We can celebrate these holidays without it. The 4th of July, maybe not, because like that is the thing. Like New Year's, we have the ball drop, we have parties, we have XYZ other things other than just fireworks, but like the 4th of July, that's all we have. That's all we have is fireworks. So like what are we gonna do if we stop fireworks? I don't know, have clean air? Pfft. Let's celebrate our independence from the UK. Why do we even still celebrate that? Let's celebrate it by having clean air and clean water. Why are we polluting ourselves? Thank you for watching. Let me know what other holidays you'd like me to cover. As I said, I've pretty much covered all of the major ones so far. And also just let me know what other videos you want to see from me this summer, as I am transitioning out of the Air Force and hopefully transitioning into this being my full-time job. But for the time being, my videos are going to be like pretty low threat pretty low-key, pretty easy videos for me to film and edit because my work hours are a little crazy right now, so I don't really have a lot of time. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. This was my first very well-researched deep dive video since like April, maybe. As always, no matter what sort of content I'm making, thank you for watching. I'll see you in next week's video. Until then, remember that your small actions have a big impact in the long run. Bye, guys. I didn't turn the lights back on. No wonder it looks so dark. That's better. But fireworks don't just stop there. They also create perchlorate. Perchlorate? Let's look how to pronounce that. Perchlorate? Perchlorate?
Perchlorate.
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 Perchlorate. Perchlorate. Chlorate. I would have spelled it different. Google should hire me. I'm a linguist. Consider doing it in a more eco-friendly